Let's get more on this now with Olga Krasnyak. She's an associate professor at the Higher School of Economics in Moscow. Welcome back to the programme, Olga. Now, with 20% of refining capacity offline, can Russia keep its military logistics supplied without causing a complete domestic fuel collapse?
Well, I cannot say it's collapse, but of course, some issues are very sensitive. Also, we need to keep in mind that Russia, in a war, a situation at war of the fifth year in a row, and we see that the 21 package of sanctions, they don't work, and we see that European countries and the United States using Ukraine, they try to consider different options to contain the Russian economy and to contain Russia. And yes, indeed, they use drones and they launch rockets inside the Russian territory. And of course, it's sensitive, but at the same time, it is not a collapse of Russian economy. It's not collapse of the supply of gas on the domestic market. But we see Russia tries to overcome this situation and, of course, just to strengthen its air defense. But if we talk from this economic perspective, of course, Russian government tries to overcome the situation, tries to minimize these negative consequences. But at the same time, everything related to the supplies of the front line of the Russian army, and I believe it has a primary issue, and it has no shortages or anything related to this. But on the domestic market, some problems we definitely can detect, but Russia tries to overcome it.
And we've also heard that Moscow has petitioned for emergency fuel from Kazakhstan. How vulnerable does that make the Kremlin as its oil export revenues shrink?
Well, it's not exactly buying something from Kazakhstan, but we see the pipelines, they are connected to Kazakhstan, and these targets of the pipelines, of course, they cause problems for Kazakhstan. And in this case, Kazakhstan and its the production of gasoline related to Russia's supplies also is very vulnerable. But of course, Russian government announced that just to overcome this crisis, it's ready to buy gasoline at this particular moment. But still, we see it's a complex problem, and it has military solution.
And given that Russia's budget deficit has doubled, what structural tools does the central bank now have to defend its currency?
Well, I cannot say the deficit is doubled, so it's a bit different. It was planned. The budget deficit was about 1.5% from GDP, but now it's doubled from this number, so it's less than 3% the budget, the deficit of budget from the GDP. So it's not exactly like 50% of the deficit budget, but still it's just only a half of a year, and we see the prices for oil, gas, and for the production inside the country. So still it's too early just to say that Russia has somehow certain difficulties. So and I would expect somehow just the situation will somehow just normalize, stabilize. So it's still just a half of the year.
And does the potential return of the banned Euro 2 fuel prove that Western sanctions have ultimately blocked critical refinery repair parts?
And I do not believe it's somehow related to the sanctions. Russia decided not to use this Euro 2 fuel in 2016 for some environmental issues, for some different type of things. It does not relate to the sanctions. And considering this moment now, some vulnerability of supplying fuel to people, and one of these options, which is considered, but it's not reintroduced yet, to get back to Euro 2 fuel, it is something that would help to resolve this issue just immediately. But it does not mean so it's somehow vulnerable to the environment, but it does not mean it will be the return to some low standards of the gasoline, but it is something that would help to overcome the crisis at this particular moment.
Olga, great to speak to you. Olga Krasnyak, Associate Professor at the Higher School of Economics in Moscow. Thank you.